VV Nation, happy Tuesday. My name is Ryan. Always a pleasure for these presentations. Now, I will say it was such a pleasure putting faces to the names of individuals within VV Nation. This is a great community for investors, and the experience I had with you guys and gals over the weekend really just cemented that feeling. Now, tonight's presentation, I've been talking about two stocks in particular a lot. One for a long time, since it was about 80 cents. The first one we're going to talk about tonight is UAMY, US Antimony. Stock went up over 20% today, right? I know for a lot of you on the rare earths, I was able to put you into some of those stocks at an early time, especially UAMY as early as last year. Now, the second thing we're going to cover tonight, BBAI. I talked about a potential trade setup, right? Coming off that retest a week or two ago. Well, we're now at resistance, and that trade has worked out quite a bit. Now, I did get one question over the weekend, and that is, I bet you make a lot of money off the stock picks that you give us. And I simply said, I actually don't own any of the stocks that I give you guys. And I feel like there could be a conflict of interest there. Maybe that's just a personal thing. But just note, the stock picks I give you guys, I don't buy. I don't. And the reason why is that gives me the ability to take the emotions out of trades that you may have potentially taken because of one of my videos, and I don't want to get my emotions involved, and I want to keep you on the right side of the trade. So I just want to say thank you for everybody for their comments over the weekend, feeling the love on this channel. So tonight's presentation, I did want to follow up with UAMY and always keep you on the right side of the trade. On top of that, BBAI. So let's get into it. Let's see exactly what's causing UAM to move, and then we're going to jump in the VectorVest 7 software. Now, when I go on the internet and see a random face, I don't really trust anything I see on the internet. So what I'm about to show you is not for really existing VV Nation people. You already watch this channel. You already know most of the stuff. This is for the people that are just tuning into the channel for the first time. Look at this short. A year ago, rare earth metals. 10 months ago, this was UAMY, rare earth stocks, MP. I actually put some stocks here in the Canadian market and the Australian market to help those subscribers. As you scroll up here, as you can tell, I watch a lot of Pawn Stars. As I scroll up, look, rare earth. Vegas live stream, we got rare earth remix. If I scroll up, rare earth stocks, critical minerals, right? I've been keeping you on this trade. This is an industry that I truly believe in that can make people a lot of money over the next 5 to 10 years. Now, I'm going to keep you on the right side of the trade as I've been doing. So tonight's presentation, right? UAMY, let me just click on this right here. You know me, I don't give a lot of fluff, right? Look at this. U.S. Antimony stock soars after securing $245 million logistics contract, right? Well, why is the Pentagon spending $245 million on this company? Critical national defense stockpile, critical minerals, rare earths, things of that nature. Everything we need to get off Chinese dependence, right? So you know me, I don't like to overthink things. So I scroll down, look at this, market caps of some U.S. companies. A lot of these I have done videos on. Some of these I have not. Maybe, check some of these stocks out here as well. But look at this. This is interesting. The U.S. rare earth minerals market is projected to grow to $12 billion by 2031, up from $7.9 billion this year. Now, this value represents the total revenue generated, not the market cap of all these players, right? So I want to know about the revenue. We're looking at about $12 billion in the next 5 years, right? But this is where it gets interesting. And this is where I have a feeling that number is actually going to be a lot more if things go right for the United States. Look at this. Total market size. The global critical minerals market size is projected to reach $586 billion. Look at this number up here. 12 billion, right? Right now we're at 12 billion. The total market's 586 billion. Now, you know I've done a lot of videos on this before. Who owns majority of the market? China. Depending on what article you look at, you're looking around 90%, right? So the whole objective right now is to get off that Chinese dependence of these minerals, right? Well, that's why I see that figure growing actually a lot more, especially with geopolitical tensions on the rise, right? Now, if those tensions, settle down, hey, may not get a big opportunity, right? But if those geopolitical tensions continue to escalate, which we're not really seeing a whole lot of dialogue or, great solution between the Chinese and U.S. tensions right now. So that's why I really see this market actually growing even more. That's why I want this industry, this space on your radar, right? Now, the next position, we're going to get this real quick. BBAI. Now, the first thing here, BlackRock, they loaded up on them. Now, there's two stocks they loaded up on last week, BBAI, and the other one's going to be Serve Robotics. I'll probably do a video on Serve Robotics in the future. I've done one in the past. I know Glenn has done one in the past, right? But this is also interesting. Look at this. Big Bear AI stock soars over 13% on partnership with SMX to enhance U.S. Navy's maritime awareness, right? Think about it. Palantir. Glenn said it best. Government contract after government contract after government contract. Big Bear AI is starting that pattern right now, right? There's a lot of enthusiasm behind this stock. Now, I will say as far as this AI company and even Palantir, it's way overvalued by our metrics. That's why I've been giving you a technical analysis, technical breakdown on Big Bear AI, not just the hype and the fluff of, what could potentially happen, but I want to play price action as it is today. So let's go ahead and jump in the VectorVest 7 software. We're going to take a look at these positions here. I'm going to show you exactly why they should be on your radar. And if managed correctly, they can make you a lot of money. Or in the VectorVest 7 software, I got UAMY, I got Big Bear AI. You're probably wondering, Ryan, why you got Palantir in the list? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the biggest bull cases I have for Big Bear AI, look at this. Its market cap, $3 billion. Palantir, over $400 billion. If BBAI ever caught up or even got in the realm of Palantir's market cap, you're talking about a 100x trade. That's why I'm not saying it's doing it, but BBAI should be on your radar for that reason alone. Now, as we look at UAMY, look at the market cap there, around $1 billion. Before the big jump up today, you were looking around $750, $800 billion, depending on the price action. So let's scroll over to the left, break down these stocks as well. I'm going to get rid of Palantir here. All right, so starting with Big Bear AI, using the VectorVest 7 system is the first thing I want to tell you. You see RV, RS, RT? These are proprietary indicators just to VectorVest on a 0 to 2 scale. Above 1, favorable rating. Below 1, not a favorable rating. Now, look at this. RVRS. These are fundamental indicators. The company is not fundamentally sound. It's a very speculative play according to the VectorVest 7 system. The play here, it's all momentum. If you look at RT, this looks at our short-term price trend of that position. Technical indicator. Again, it's favorable. It's almost a 2. There's a lot of momentum behind Big Bear AI. That's why I see this more as a technical play rather than the company's fundamentals. But again, with that opportunity of the market cap, there is some long-term potential here. Just make sure you manage that volatility correctly. So let's go ahead and jump in the chart and take a look at this trade setup. All right, here's the chart of Big Bear AI. Now down below, we got forecasted data, right? But look at it. It's declining. Again, speculative play. Now, if I use the date line, and if we go back to September 17th, that's when I did the video, right? We were right at this level of resistance. Told you wait for confirmation off the pivot. Trade worked out, right? The target, this trend line, you can see perfect touches here. Well, we're already getting a little bit of an upper wick there, right? So if you took the trade, if you're in Big Bear AI, if today finishes with a big upper wick, taking some profits off the table, probably not a bad idea, right? But if we get a close near session highs, all I want to see is an open tomorrow, or at least price action to stay above this downward trend line, right? And if it breaks above it, it's probably be a short-term parabolic move. Wouldn't be surprised by that, right? Shortly followed, and again, just my own speculation here, by a retest on this descending trend line, right? So take a look at price action. But if you missed the traded setup before, and hey, you're looking for some momentum in Big Bear AI, again, we could get rejection off this level. But if we get an open tomorrow with a very little wick at the top today, keep Big Bear AI on your radar. This thing might just take another move. If that's the case, hey, you could switch to like a star search or something to help capture profits. Me personally, I wouldn't be scared to take some profits when it comes to Big Bear AI along the way. But right now, I'm not quite there yet because I'm not seeing the rejection. But again, stick to the chart, not your heart. Now let's jump over to UAMY. All right, now Big Bear AI, that's a swing trader's darling there, right? UAMY, I actually see this as both. For my momentum traders, there's some big swings in here, and they're really not that hard to, comprehend. But even for my investors, don't overlook UAMY. Now, the stock, it did have some value opportunities here. Currently trading at $7.88, up over 20%, right? Value, we valued at 384. Now the stock's had a big move, right? It was undervalued, not so much anymore, but I do still see potential here for the long term, because look at this, RV or relative value. They're not the same thing. RV looks at long-term price appreciation potential, looking at the key factors like earnings growth rate, right? It's positive. So even though the stock's overvalued right now, hey, I like it. As long as RV is above 1, I like it. And honestly, looking at the chart, we'll get there in just a moment, value is trying to catch up with price. It's rising, so keep that in mind. Now, as far as safety here, you're definitely getting a lot more safety than Big Bear AI. Now, it's not going to be safe, you know, it's like an NVIDIA or Mag 7 stock, but there's opportunities here. The safety rating is above 1. Now, look at the momentum here. That's why I said this could be an investment and a trade. It's got more momentum behind the price action than Big Bear AI being an AI stock, right? As well with that, it does have a buy rating by the VectorVest 7 system. I like the stock. So let's jump in the chart because that's where we're going to make the money. All right, UAMY. Here's the chart, right? Look at price action. Ever since it broke out of this descending channel with a perfect retest on the 200-day moving average, I've been keeping the stock on your radar, right? You can see lines here. Hey, I like it. One of the last great opportunities was this break. And look at the retest on this trend line. The same type of retest I'm looking for Big Bear AI. So keep that on your radar and look at price action, right? Hey, if I got you in this stock a long time ago and you're taking profits at $8 right now, why be mad at it, right? Why be mad at it? Look at the valuation. Also, this little green line here, you can see it ticked up. We're pretty flat, right? But over the last 10 months or so, valuation is trying to keep up with price action. Now, this position, I will go in the forecasted data. Look at this growth rate in earnings, 49%, sales growth rate, 187. Think about it. To grow your earnings, you have to increase sales, right? If earnings is going to be that engine to drive stock price higher, well, sales growth rate is the fuel. So if you ain't got sales, the only way you can grow it is by becoming more efficient, right? Which isn't a bad thing, but I want a stock that's growing their sales. Give me a little bit more conviction for the long term. Now, my dear friend Glenn taught me, trade the chart, not your heart. So you see, I just added this little red line here, right? Look at the resistance from this line in the past. Several peaks right at this level of resistance, right? Not even far from this one as well. So me personally, again, don't be afraid to take some profit. And if I had a bet, and if you got some patience, I wouldn't be surprised to see price action eventually retest this line, right? And this line is going to increase in value over time going forward. As well, the 20-day EMA also catching up to this line here. So I wouldn't be surprised the 20-day EMA, even this line here, got up over $6 and maybe the stock pulled back, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen. Use something like Star Search. Right here in VectorVest 7 software, you can see Star Search layout. This uses Bollinger Bands. We'll go to 3 months. Creates a highway, right? The white line here is the standard deviation of 3. That typically means price action getting a little overstretched, right? You see when it got close to the standard deviation here, close to the standard deviation of here, price action pulled back shortly after, right? That's why I wouldn't be surprised if price action did that. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. Make your own decisions, but that is what I'm seeing here, right? But as of right now, look at price action. It's still near session highs. There's not much of an upper wick forming right now. So just like Big Bear AI, I'm not in a rush to sell it. You really got to ask yourself personally. I don't know where you bought this position was, and I don't know what your goals are, if it's a swing trade or investment. And I will say this, if it's an investment, me personally, I like the idea of keeping a little bit of this at all times. You know, we talked about the leg in, leg out approach over the Vegas event. You can do that, right? Some of this position can be your long-term holding. Some of this position you can do for swing trading, right? So keep that in mind, but we got a gap to fill here. A nice level of support, it looks like, around that level. So I could see this line continuing to raise here, along with that 20-day EMA, and that's where I see. So I like to see the pullback. You know, if we get follow through tomorrow and you want to, you know, again, take this as a momentum trade, I am under the mindset we're getting closer to the tail end of this. But again, there's a lot of big news right now at Pentagon. So all it takes is another article later this week with another defense contract, you know, something along those lines to get these stocks moving. But either way, I see potential with this stock for the long term, and the momentum is there right now. So don't go against that momentum, and always stick to the chart and never trade your heart. Now, I hope everyone enjoyed tonight's video. Again, I just want to give you a follow-up on some of the, on some of the stock picks I've put out there, so that way I can keep you on the right side of the trade. Now, if there's any other stock picks that I've given you that you want me to do a follow-up video on, put it in the comment section below, and I'll try to put that information out sooner than later. Now, everybody enjoy your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow night.